Hello, happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday. I am Jim Wendler, author and creator of 531. I hope everyone's had a great week. It's been an awesome week and a bittersweet week here in London, Ohio. We lost last week. We did not play very well. Credit to the other team, all that other shite. But we did put up our Christmas tree. So my job as the strength and conditioning coordinator at London, I took this week off. The kids didn't have to come in and train. So it's been a crazy, easy week for me. And it's a reminder of how my life used to be. So I can't lie to you. I had a good week. Lots of doing nothing and a lot of free time. Got a lot of little stuff done, though. So anyway, oh, God. All right, man. I did, I don't know. I guess it was Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday I did the stairs, and it was, I think it was something like 8 degrees or something when I went over there. It was cold, and I am super sore. So if you guys have access to stairs or hills, even if you don't have a weight vest, go walk up and down for like an hour. It will kick your ass, man. All right, here we go. As always, if you have a question, do so. Ask in the chat there. I will do my best to answer it. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, too. We had an awesome Thanksgiving. So I guess I already said that because whatever. That was last week. All right, here we go. Elo says Wendler is the man. Well, thankfully, I agree with you. At least I am a man. So thank you, Elo. I appreciate it. Andrew W. says, if I want to alternate the squat and the deadlift each week on a 3-day program, how should I use percentages? Squat 5s week, deadlifts 3s week, and squat 5, and then flip it the following 3 weeks? No, I would just do the 5 week, and then squat 5 week, deadlift 5 week, squat 3 weeks. So you just repeat the weeks. That's what I've done. It's much easier that way. You don't have to get totally confused. So, but if that's what you want to do, Andrew, I don't think it matters too much, if I'm going to be completely honest. So I just, again, 5 week, 3, 5, 3, 1, 5, 3, 1. There you go. And Andrew also says, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I am very fortunate to give people this time. So I'm glad it's been a help to you, buddy. So thank you. All right, Treborn asks, did the NLRRS Ruck test? Oh, no. So the Norwegian long range recon test, the Ruck test with 25 pounds at 3.6 miles per hour. I loved it. That's very impressive. I wanted to work up to the real test, 4.3 at 60 pounds. How would I program increases in speed and weight? All right, so I don't know how you would do it. I know probably how I would do it is I would lift twice a week. One day would be trap bar or deadlift or a box squat, higher box squat. The other day would be bench or press. I would do rows and chins and some, upper body bodybuilding bullshit. Just keep on muscle. I do obviously a lot of ab work, ab wheel, the 8-point plank, stuff like that, leg raises. 2 of those days, so that's 2 days lifting. 2 days I would do the treadmill. One day would be without the vest. The other day would be with the vest. With the vest, it would be fairly short, 20 to 30 minutes, and that would be obviously auto-regulated. So I would always probably jack it up to 15 and then adjust the speed based on readiness for that day. All right, so that's 20 to 30 minutes, and I would keep that very high. That'd be a very difficult day. And then the other day would be longer walks, so probably an hour, 2 hours or something, and then I would alternate the speed, and that would be a little bit easier, just kind of getting into it. And then other 2 days, I would either climb hills or stairs or do prowler or sled work. So I don't think you need to, bump up 30 pounds and then go to 3.7, then go to 35 pounds and go to 3.8 or anything. Like, it doesn't work like that. I think you need to just have a kind of a harder day, an easier day, and make sure you're training the body physically in the weight room to complement that goal. And I think what I just kind of pointed out would probably be the best way to do it. I don't think you need to do it much more, at least with the vest, more than 1 day a week. When you climb stairs or do other stuff, you can also wear the weight vest to acclimate. Climbing stairs with the weight vest is amazing. I know I just said that. So I would probably do at least one of the stair days with a weight vest. So if you have a 25 pound, I would probably wear a 30 pound or 35 pound. You also have to understand that you don't need to wear the 25 pound for a few weeks, then the 30, and then the 35. And like, it doesn't, you don't need to do that stuff. You just need to train and prepare, and then you'll be able to do the test because you're actually recovered and you have built enough strength in the weight room so that even though the weight vest is a little heavier, you'll be fine. Okay. All right. Good luck with that, man. Good luck. I suck at that stuff, mostly because it's hard for me to walk, but that's just the way it goes. So good on you, man. I've done it before. Mason and I did 35 minutes at 15 with the 20 pound vest at like 2.5 or 3 point. Mason did 3.0 and we carried an 8 pound dumbbell. That sucked. So I totally get it. All right, here we go. Du Young Wang says, hey, Jim, since I took your advice on 531 and Prilipin, okay, my training has been awesome. What could be a smart way to program a secondary barbell lift when using Prilipin for the main lift? I would probably, if I were going to do that, man, I don't know about this. If I'm going to be completely honest, if my goal was to get a little stronger, I would probably always err on like kind of redoing the Prilipin chart, but I would keep at the higher end percentage-wise. So probably between 85 and 90-ish%, and I would do doubles and singles in there, obviously following Prilipin's chart. Unless you feel really worn down, then you just go lower. But I would personally, I would probably go a little heavier and just work on the speed, and heavier weights. So, you know, you'd have to check. I can't remember. So let's just say go on the medium to low end, about 90%. That's what I would do. Whether or not your body's prepared for that, I don't know. But I would not treat that secondary lift like with high reps and high volume. I would, because obviously you're doing Prilipin's chart for a reason with the 531 program. So I don't think that would not be smart in any way. All right, I would keep the higher rep, higher volume stuff for the assistants. One more question. What kind of watch do you wear? Are you a watch guy? I'm definitely not a watch guy. I went out to eat, I don't know, it's probably a year or two ago. I don't remember, but I was with my parents in Illinois and some guy asked me, he's like, oh my God, asked me about my watch and asked me what I did for a living. And he actually named my watch, which is not like a crazy watch or anything. And I was like, I had no idea that was the name of the watch, but I can't even read this. Pro Trek, I think it is. I don't know. I think I use my watch all day. I time all my showers just to try and break records. I know that sounds really stupid. I obviously time all the sets that I generally do in the weight room. Doesn't mean I'm trying to kill myself, but I time that. And obviously I use the watch all the time when I'm training the kids since everything is run on a clock. And the other thing is I just don't like having to look at the time and take out my phone, which I know probably sounds stupid, but I like to divorce myself from the phone as much as possible. But I'm definitely not a watch guy. As long as it looks good and it's easy to use, I'm pretty happy. And the other thing is my eyesight is not as good as it used to be, so it has to be a little bigger. That's my watch there. So I can read the numbers, and that's another big thing. So the joys of getting older. So listen, I'd rather be a little broken down as long as I'm getting older than the alternative, which is dead. So, you know, a lot of people get all upset about aging. It doesn't mean you have to go quietly into the night, but there's nothing wrong with getting older. That means you survived All right. And you have an opportunity to do awesome shit. So don't get all down that you can't do this and that. You can do other stuff too. And I've had two really good friends pass away when I was, growing up with their 21st, 22nd birthday, somewhere in there. And, I think about that all the time. How it's been, 20 years, 30 years. So it's unbelievable. They never got to have kids, all this other stuff. So it just reminds me getting older is a privilege. So I'm listen, I got a lot of injuries and shit like that. Life is not perfect, but dude, look at that. It's Christmas time. My son loves Christmas, obviously, because he gets a ton of presents. So I get to be there on Christmas Day. It's a good time. All right, here we go. Matthew Julian writes, recently I took your advice and spread my training week out across 9 days to get extra recovery, and I'm loving it so far. Thanks for that. All right, so just so everyone understands, I'm going to guess, Matthew, you train Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you repeat a workout every 9 days. So instead of 4 lifts done in 7 days, you do it over 9 days. And I'm a huge fan of that. Obviously, a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people think that if you don't bench, like your body's, has to do stuff extra, every 7 days. It doesn't work like that, people. So especially as you get a little bit older, or if your training is a little more complex, as in you need to do running, jumping, skill work in your sport, or your job is, super physical, it really works out well. So Matthew Julian then says, question, you often mention having a dummy leg movement to drive up leg strength. What are some that you generally recommend? All right, so the original dummy leg movement, at least in my life, at least when I started coining that term, was the Elite FTS Power Squat. You can find videos of me doing it online. It was just a really easy way to do a leg movement, which forced me right into a perfect position. And all I had to worry about is giving a tremendous amount of effort. That's it. You can do super heavy. You can go very high reps. Most people have access to a leg press. If you go to a gym, that's a good example of a dummy leg movement. Another one would be walking lunges, body weight or weight vest, that way you don't have to hold on to anything. Obviously, you can use a barbell or dumbbells, but it's super easy. It's super dumb. Climbing hills would be another one, or stairs with the weight vest. Prowler and sled would kind of be in there. Just anything you don't have to worry about technique so much, and you can kind of load fairly heavy or do a lot of volume on and just kind of smash your legs. I'm a huge fan of that. I think a lot of that has to do with my background and where I grew up because of Walter Payton and running hills and stuff. And the thing that was just pounded into my head was how important leg strength was. Didn't matter what you benched, all that stuff, but it was just how strong and conditioned your legs were. Thus, my obsession with hills and squats when I was a kid. And I guess it kind of carries over today. So, Stephen, it's funny. I was telling my wife, I'm 49 years old, and my current kind of focus in training is 100% just kind of how I was when I was a kid. It just obviously has to be altered for my age and what I want to do, but it's the same basic thing. It's just a lot of lower body ass kicking. So there you go. What do we got here? Heavyweight says, "Hail Jim Wendler." Thank you, Heavyweight. I appreciate that. But oh my God. Someone asked me the other day something. It was like a private message or whatever about relationships, and I was thinking, dude, you do not want to take any advice from me on dating girls. It's been other than my wife, it's just been a shit show. So I can't imagine getting married when you're like early 20s. I couldn't imagine what a disaster that for me would have been an absolute disaster. All right. Jonathan Crossley A couple of questions, likely majoring in the minors, but interested in your experience and thoughts. Have you tried a rucksack for loaded calisthenics training as opposed to a weight vest? So that load is completely on your back. I have not. So, I mean, if that's what you have access to, I would go ahead and do it, but I have not tried it. I've tried I put my weight vest into I have a very durable, super durable backpack, and I just walked up and down stairs. It's a different feeling, that's for sure. I mean, you really got to kind of lean into it. So, but I have not, and I don't know if I'd really want to do squats and push-ups like that. That doesn't mean that you can't, doesn't mean that you might like it, but I just think just having something that's kind of loaded evenly, I think is, for me, just fine. I don't need to make everything impossible for me. So I'm feeling ab wheel rollouts in my lats a lot. How can I shift more to the core? Make sure you're rounding, so you don't want to arch your back. And then obviously when you start rolling out, you really have to engage the core and you have to get that tension built up. Obviously you're going to use your shoulders. And I tell the kids all the time, as long as you maintain that position, go ahead and drive everything into the ab wheel. You don't have to, use your abs to get back because they're going to be engaged anyway. But it's a super important missing score, that when you use the ab wheel, you start off with a little round and be able to maintain that. So even when you come out, that is super tight and tension. You don't want to just roll out and then as it kind of gets difficult, then engage your abs and stuff like that. But you're going to feel the rollouts in your shoulders and lats anyway. So that's just the way it goes. Just like, if you're doing the squat, you're going to feel it in your back and your glutes and stuff like that. So anyway, that's what I would recommend. And the other thing is, I should say, is if you start to arch super hard at the bottom and you feel it kind of just shift all the way to your back and your shoulders, only go out a certain amount of distance. So, draw a piece of chalk, draw a line or something, and just go there, hold it, and then roll yourself back. So it doesn't have to be a complete and total movement each time until you get strong enough. So, all right. Heavyweight says, could we get the Santa Claus version of Jim Wendler for the next stream? No. I guess I can wear a hat, but I don't know. I like wearing my hat. Look at this thing. I'm super pumped up. I got this build to stay like this. It's kind of my ode to Mike Muir and suicidal tendencies. So anyway, it's the only hat I can wear forward that I can wear glasses with, because everything kind of hits my glasses and it feels very uncomfortable. So maybe I'll just wear like a red fur-lined jock strap and you guys can just imagine. Tower says, can you elaborate on your programming methodology for the power clean in the Morningstar program? My layman eyes see there's quite a bit less volume than the other two lifts. I don't know. I'd have to look at that. But generally, we do probably between 10 and 15 total reps with the power clean or the snatch, I guess, or hang clean. It's been my experience, you don't need to do the same volume as the squat, bench, and deadlift, as long as the reps are solid and stuff. Obviously, the reps should be solid anytime. So that's just been my experience. It's the power clean, hang clean, stuff like that is not the same thing as a bodybuilding or powerlifting. So you don't need to do as much. Now, some people, obviously, if you're an Olympic lifter, that's fine, but it's a completely different kind of lift than the squat and deadlift. Thus, Prilipin's chart, right? So, obviously, everyone knows that's not made for powerlifting. It can be applied to it, but it's the same basic idea. Very few people would. The majority of people's definitions of like lifting weights is more bodybuilding than anything else. And you have to understand that Olympic lifting is a completely different thing, completely different kind of methodology. So that is why my methodology is like that. There you go. And if I got really good got strong at the power cleans. I don't know if I would do much more than 2 to 3 reps per set, if I'm going to be completely honest. Doesn't mean you can't do more. Doesn't mean it's fun to do more. I think we had when I was in college, we did like it was just me, but my buddies were there. I tried to hang clean, I think 275 for 10 reps. Obviously, it's not the smartest thing to do. We didn't do it as conditioning. I just wanted to see if I could do it. I think that's what it was. It's probably 264 because we used, is that what it is? Yeah. But anyway, generally speaking, the volume is going to be a little lower. All right, here we go. Heavyweight, dude, you don't have to do that, buddy. I appreciate it. But you don't have to do that, but thank you. Here we go. Jonathan asks, any potential ideas on progressing from kneeling ab wheel rollouts to standing? Whew. I was thinking of using the weight vest and slowly adding weight to kneeling before working to body weight standing. Yeah, I think, listen, when I first did my standing ab wheel, it was it's kind of a parlor trick, if you're going to be completely honest. There's ways to kind of, doesn't mean it's not fun to do, but it's like, I'll give you an example. We did one-arm barbell snatches when I was at Arizona. When I say we, it was just a bunch of us screwing around. This was not programmed. And I remember I did 191 with each arm. And remember, it's just a barbell. I'm not doing kettlebells or anything like that. And it looks really impressive, but once you kind of get the technique down and where to put your hand, it's again, kind of a parlor trick. Doesn't mean I wasn't strong, but there's plenty of guys in that team that couldn't have done it, that were way stronger and way more explosive than I was. I just learned how to do it. So that needs to be understood. The other thing is you need to learn, because the time under tension is much more with the standing ab wheel and obviously much more intense, Jonathan, you have to learn how to just do the ab wheel with so much tension and learn how to do it much more controlled and slow, even when you're kneeling, and know how to engage on the way back up. So when you're going on the way back up, it needs to be a concentrated effort of everything. You need to learn how to dig your toes in. Obviously using your arms quite a bit too. It's not just an ab thing. So yes, I would, use an ab wheel and stuff, or use a weight vest with it, but learn how to control and build and hold tension throughout that. I'm telling you, that is a huge deal. But again, I'm going to tell you, Jonathan, it's a little bit of a parlor trick. So there you go. Jonathan asks again, I'm not a big supplement guy, focus more on food, but use creatine, caffeine, and some ZMA before bed. Any supplements that you do find to be beneficial? The only thing, like normal thing, that I would probably add in there what helped me was digestive enzymes, but that was more of a personal thing. My wife has me doing anti-aging crap. I have no idea what it is. She puts out a cup for me. I just down it. And probably 4 or 5 times a week, I take a multivitamin when I remember to. It's just a multivitamin pack, but I'm not always terribly consistent with that. To be completely honest, Jonathan, I think what you got going there is probably as good as you're going to get. And I'm not saying that there might not be something specific that you personally might need. For example, the probiotics and digestive enzymes helped me because my stomach was all fucked up for some reason. And it was such a big improvement so quick, I couldn't believe it. It was literally a day. And I was like, my stomach felt way better. So I don't know what I'm trying to say, Jonathan, is I don't know what you're deficient in, but I think just in general, what you're taking is awesome. There you go. All right. Jonathan Hickman says, I would like to try and push the deadlift and squat. Would you suggest boring but big or the original 531 with assistance based on your Took It Like a Pro blog with a dumb leg movement? Well, Tom, I'm not, this is, how would I see? I'm trying to think the best way to say it. So with the squat and the deadlift, it's hard to push these at the same time because there's going to be some detriments in there. Okay. So the number one thing is the one thing that's going to carry over to both is make sure your abs and low back are stronger than anything you could ever imagine. I think that's more important than people will ever realize. I've seen it happen with myself, and every single guy that I power lifted with, it was a priority. And when anyone ever came in and their squat struggled, we just upped all their low back and ab work. And, within 2 months, it became a strong point, as long as they were consistent and they did what we told them to do. I can't stress that enough. I had a kid come in. I told him he needs to do more ab work. All he did was he did like 100 or 200 crunches a day. His squat skyrocketed because of that. Okay. What I'm saying is crunches aren't the best thing, but just a little bit of ab work goes a long way. All right. So that's number one. Number two is I would probably, maybe for, one cycle, I would push the hell out of the volume on the squat and keep the volume. So that would mean just do regular 5-3-1 with the squat, and then start doing either some dumbbell leg stuff or boring but big, but just get the legs generally stronger. And then I would back off for maybe a cycle and just kind of keep on repeating that. There's going to be some bad days in there because your legs are going to be exhausted. With the deadlift, I would probably, when you're doing the dumb leg stuff, I would probably cap the sets based on bar speed. So maybe no more than 8 to 10 reps on a final set. And then when you get away from the dumb leg stuff for the next cycle, then you start pushing both the squat and the deadlift. So, but the main thing is get those abs and low back, and just understand when you're trying to raise both the deadlift and the squat at the same time, it's going to be very, very difficult. Generally speaking, I would rather have someone pick one lower body movement and one upper body movement and raise those up and try and kind of, I don't want to say stagnate, but don't kill the other lift. All right. Because the problem is when you start squatting and doing a ton of leg stuff, your deadlift will suffer. And then your legs get tired. Then you pull a deadlift, your back starts to take over because your legs are exhausted, and then you end up getting hurt. So just be smart about that. So just alternate dumb leg, no dumb leg, and just do that. It's going to take a lot longer than, 8 weeks. All right. If you really want to squat, push your squat and deadlift, I would give yourself 12 months of just kicking ass. At least. It's going to take some time to get those legs strong. All right. Martin asks, hey, Jim, thoughts on any assault on an assault bike as main conditioning work? Is it any better than regular cycling? Hold on. I just lost my place. I apologize. Is it any better than regular cycling? And would it be a good substitute for sled pulls and prowler work, as that isn't really an option for me? All right. So as main conditioning work, what are my thoughts? I think it's a wonderful thing. Okay. I don't think it's all you should use, unless I think it's really awesome if you are powerlifting or doing your main stuff is strength training, because I think it's very easy to recover from. So that's, if you're just like an athlete or just trying to be regularly awesome, I think you probably need to do sled work and all that other shit. Okay. So there you go. Is it any better than regular cycling? I have no idea. I don't, other than riding a BMX bike and riding my bike every day in college, but that was just to get to and from my apartment to classes. I don't have any experience with that. Obviously it's harder. The Airdyne's harder, but I don't know the difference, when you do like what do you call spinning class or anything like that. So I have no idea. Is it a good substitute for the sled pulls and prowler work? All right. So this is, we kind of touched on this a little bit before. If it's just for conditioning and just regular general physical preparedness, it's fine, but it's completely different than sled pulls and prowler work. Now, obviously you're going to have the no eccentric properties that prowler and sled have. That's what the bike has. That's why it's really awesome. But you're not going to get the same kind of effect. There's just no way around the sled and prowler, just like the sled and prowler is not the same as a bike. The sled and prowler can be very taxing on the body. It's much easier than a lot of people, I think, but you're still dragging and pushing fucking heavy weight. It's going to get tiring, especially if you're, just when we did the prowler challenge over Thanksgiving, my upper back and lats were tired afterwards because you're leaning into a heavy thing and, all that other good stuff, whatever. So I think it's good. I think, Martin, the good thing about the bike is you can do sprints on it, and then you could do longer distances on it too. So you can kind of hit both things. So I think that's one of the good things about the bike. The other thing is I bought a new seat for my bike. So I wish I could I'm not going to. Anyways, if you see a bike seat, right, it's got the dong up here and then the butt. It's the seat I ordered off Amazon. It's got no dong on there. All right. So it just kind of looks like this. Just that. It's got no dick on there. It's a game changer for me. I loved riding the bike, except my taint had like a thick, gross callus on there. It didn't, but it was so uncomfortable, Martin. I bought that new seat, and I can ride the bike like I did a 26.2 miles on there, and the only thing I had to worry about was my conditioning, so to speak. I didn't have to worry about my balls and dong going numb or it being uncomfortable. So if you are going to use that bike regularly and you do have a nasty thick callus growing on your taint, I highly recommend it. It's super easy to take off your old seat and put this one on. So that's what I would recommend. Jamie Smith says, no question, just congrats on getting to the semis this year. Thank you, Jamie. It was an amazing year. We had a tough last game. It sucks going out like that. We were doing really well until it isn't, and that team was just simply better than us, and that's just the way it goes. I think we could have played a lot better, but those kids probably obviously this is the first time since I've been here that we've reached the Final Four, but I don't know. I don't think this was the most talented team, but I'm telling you, this was the best team we've ever had here. And I give a lot of credit to those seniors and juniors who really stepped up. They worked their asses off. So, okay. What are we going here? Heavyweight says, hey, I just want to apologize. I always go back and listen to every stream. And I noticed 8 months ago, I asked a very identical question. I feel stupid for it. Don't worry about it, buddy. I answer the same questions over and over again. It used to frustrate me, but then I realized obviously not everyone's going to listen and read everything I've ever done, and that's fine. All right. I have to go back. When I first started training, because there wasn't a lot of training information, I just read the same things over and over again, and magically it got put into my brain. So it's important to, not just for me, but for everyone to kind of get a lot of the same questions answered. And a lot of times too, my answer might change. I always think, man, when I was 21, 22, 23, 25, whatever years old, I thought I knew everything about training. And even when I think about when I was working at the University of Kentucky, I cringe. Like, I'm embarrassed to how I did as a coach, knowing what I know now. So things always change, heavyweight. So just understand that things are always changing. Your perspective change, your experiences change, stuff like that. So if you got to ask, buddy, just ask. That's the bottom line. Jeff Mullis says, training's going great and getting stronger each wave, working on building up the high bar squat. I was wondering your take on Zerchers. Would you program them as assistants or supplemental? All right. So back when I was kind of starting at elite and all this stuff, we would occasionally do Zercher squats, but it was incredibly limiting. I think everyone kind of understands that, right? Your legs are much stronger than anything that you can hold. And I've noticed when I was doing this that, like the standing ab wheel and some other lifts, the single arm barbell snatch, it was kind of a parlor trick too. Doesn't mean there's not, you can't get something from them. I'm sure people got great things out of them. But I always like pissing off the Zercher crew because those guys would live and die by that lift. And I always felt like the only reason they did that was because no one else did it. And they couldn't be measured. Their weakness couldn't have been measured. So I don't really like Zercher squats for that reason. I think it's very limiting. However, everyone knows the reason why Zerchers were invented, right? Because Ed Zercher, I think, was in prison. So instead of having, they didn't have any squat racks, he would just pick up the bar from the ground. But if for whatever reason you don't have access to a rack, or maybe you are injured and that's the only kind of squat you can do, man, fucking go for it. I'm 1,000% behind that. The answer is, but I just think there's better ways of training. All right. You're probably better off doing something else, but whatever. No reason you can't do it, for 3 weeks, 6 weeks. He asked then, would you program them as assistants or supplemental? Definitely supplemental. Definitely supplemental. All right. So good luck though, Jeff. Congratulations on getting stronger, man. And I know, like, when you switch your squat stance or, where you put the bar and all that stuff, it takes a little bit of time. So just be patient with that. Don't have one or two bad workouts, Jeff, and then just scrap everything. You're going to have bad workouts regardless of what kind of bar position you use. Just please understand that. Jonathan Crossley says, I second weighted walking lunges, especially with the vest or a ruck. Okay, this is for dumbbell. What I call dumb leg movements. Huge fan of high volume unilateral work plus hill sprinting. There you go. Matthew Julian says, Walter Payton, strong legs and strong lungs. Yeah, I've noticed that if you got strong legs and strong lungs, pretty much whatever you want to do, your skill might be shitty, but physically you'd be able to do it. So that's what we talk about, having a high level of general physical preparedness. Maybe your skills are lacking in a sport, but physically you should be able to perform fairly well. I have a kid right now who's got the highest GPP of anyone I've ever coached. And I was talking to one of the kids and I brought this up. I said, so-and-so, he's probably not going to be a very good basketball player, but do you think he would have any problems going through a basketball practice? And they looked at me and was like, no, he'd be fine. I said, what about a wrestling practice? And he's like, nope, I think he'd be okay. What if he did a, what do you call those things? A savage run, or I don't know what those are called. When you're jumping around, going over things. And I said, do you think he'd have any issue doing that? And they're like, no. So that's what we call about general physical preparedness. You're physically able to do just about anything. Your skill is a different thing. All right. So shooting hoops and doing single leg takedowns or, blocking and stuff like that. That's a whole separate thing. And that doesn't mean you don't need to have specialized conditioning for your sport, but just general physical preparedness is super important. Part of that is having strong legs and strong lungs. All right, here we go. Chris Ryan. I apologize for that big snort here. He says, I just tested my 1RM on the main lifts and my lower body lifts were pretty weak compared to my upper body lifts. Best way template to improve lower body strength. I'm tall with long legs, so I hate leg. So I did cuts off there. So I mean, you hate leg day. All right. So if you really want, since you're testing, you're basing all this off your 1RM. All right. If you are pretty tall, you want the absolute truth, you're going to have to gain a boatload of weight. All right. That's the only way around this, unless you are physically an anomaly, which obviously you're not. Okay. So if you're over, 6 feet or have super long legs, you're going to have to gain some weight. That's just no one wants to talk about that. Oh my God, I'm going to lose my abs. That's just the way it goes. All right. So you have to be, are you willing to sacrifice a lot of that stuff for that? So I don't know if there's the best template. I don't think the template matters at all. To improve lower body strength, if I was you, I would gain, I don't know how tall you are and your body fat percentage and stuff like that. And maybe it's not worth it. Maybe you already, listen, I hate to say this shit, but let's say you're a 6'2" and 185 pounds and you're 30% body fat. You shouldn't be worried about your 1RM at this point. You need to cut down on the body fat and increase the muscle mass. All right. So even though I know your goal is to get stronger squat and deadlift, I just don't think it's worth it. That's what I think. But if you're very lean and very tall, and if you really want to get your squat and deadlift up, you're going to have to gain some weight, and it's probably going to be uncomfortable. So I don't know what else to tell you, man. So there's a reason why most successful power lifters and Olympic lifters, they look a certain way because their body chooses their sport. All right. That's why you don't see, a lot of 5'8", 230-pound dudes playing in the NBA. And that's why you don't see 6'8", 185 pounds dude in Olympic level power or Olympic level Olympic lifting or high-end powerlifting. So you're going to have to kind of change your genetics, so to speak, and just gain some weight. So John Donovan says, I love some suicidal tendencies. I think I'll listen to them today. Listen, I was one of the, Join the Army? I remember getting that on tape. I started thinking, I remember getting Rust in Peace on tape. I was taking a shower today. I thought about this. I got Rust in Peace on tape, one of my favorite albums of all time. My tape wore out. Eventually, long story short, I went and bought Rust in Peace on CD, and it didn't sound anything like I remembered. And I don't know what it was, because it was remastered. Stop remastering this shit. I just want to hear the original. And I know there's other reasons why they remaster stuff, obviously for money. They maybe take the guitars out, the bass guitar out, and put it back in so they don't have to pay royalties, all that other crap. But I cannot stand, because the remixed version or remastered version of Rust in Peace stinks. All right, here we go. Says, I heard you reference super training and Zatsiorsky's science and sports practice of training a few times. What are some of the other titles you've read in the pantheon of strength training books? I've said this before. The most important book you will ever read, bar none, is your training log. I think that's super important. Super important. I think it's the most important book you'll ever read in training. So please use a training log, make notes. You don't have to be insane notes or anything, but that way you can track your progress and understand what does and what doesn't work. The other thing I think that I've probably gotten the most of personally was the Russian training manuals. And you have to kind of learn how to read those things, because obviously it's for high-end Olympic lifters, but there's always little nuggets in there that I think are super important. The book, the Naim Suleimanoglu book, is, everyone knows who Naim Suleimanoglu is, whatever, but his book details his training before he started Olympic lifting, and it's awesome. It shows you the importance of general physical preparedness. And it's not about what exactly they were doing. It's about the entire big picture. And I thought it was absolutely fascinating reading that stuff. So a lot of people are kind of looking for exact things when they read these books, when you kind of have to look at the big picture. And if I'm going to be completely honest, as I've gotten older, a lot of the stuff that I read doesn't apply to me at all. All right, because I'm training a completely different generation of people and much different levels of people. And I think that needs to be understood, because a lot of these books were written before the obesity crisis and all the things that came with that. And I think a lot of the ideas change, especially a lot of these books, I'll tell you, are marketed and written with high-end athletes in mind, and that needs to be understood. Listen, if you got a kid who's never really trained before, super training is not going to matter one fucking bit. I'm sorry. It's just not. And if you're training, fairly untrained, like, you haven't been training for 10 to 20 years, it's a completely different world. So please understand that, guys. It's awesome to read that stuff, but you have to understand, like Louis always pushed super training, and Zatsiorsky, Verkhoshansky and stuff like that, which is fine. But Louis was working with high level lifters all the time. So those things can be applicable to them, but they're not always applicable to the, if you've been training for 2 to 3 years and you're 34 years old, it's not applicable to you. All right. Again, you might find some little things in there here and there, but in general, know your audience and know your level. All right. And that's going to have to, I had to do, when I was, I don't know, probably I guess I would say I was 26, 27, 28. Like, I had to do an ego check and say, when I was reading these books, like, this doesn't apply to me. I'm still not even close to being where I need to be, where this is applicable to. So just understand that. Duncan, boy, Wonder Gem. I hope to God that's your real last name, dude. That's awesome. And I hope you're not talking about your butt plug, because that'd be weird, dude. That's a great name. Sorry, Duncan. Oh, you're going to kick me in the Jimmy if you ever see me. All right. What are the accessory lifts you would push when trying to increase the bench press to some absurd numbers on the OG 531 program? All right. So this is what I would probably do. And you don't, again, guys, accessory lifts. All right. I'm going to do this a little. I'm not sure what you mean by accessory specifically. But if I'll break this down, my supplemental lifts, so barbell heavy stuff, I would do some kind of incline in floor press. Obviously, we're going to complete the standing press would be in there. But if I was doing the standing press, I would not go I would volume the shit out of that one. Okay. With the press, the floor press and the inclines, I would probably train those a little heavier. So kind of Prilepin-esque, But the overhead press, I would just bodybuild the shit out of it. Get as big shoulders as possible. All right. The assistance. I would always try to get some dumbbell full range movement in, so that I don't care if that's flat, 6 degree, 45 degree incline. I think that would be super important. Okay. Dips and push-ups, I think, can be somewhat interchangeable. So I would probably put those in, and I'd probably learn how to do not just keep the high reps in there, but learn how to load it. Again, you don't have to be doing doubles and triples and stuff like that, but that would be a key part. All right. Are we clear on that? Hold on. For the lats, I always do pull-ups. So I think that's super important. But one of the things I would do is I'd make sure I'd be doing some rope work for forearm strength. I think that rope work, as in rope chin-ups or towel chin-ups, I think that's super important. Obviously, dumbbell rows, I would definitely put in. I think they're super important for everything. All right. So hold on. I'm trying to think. For upper back, I would just, since you're doing a lot of rows and stuff like that, I'd also probably have like a dumb row movement, like a chest supported row. I would keep those in there. And then you can always throw in some lat pulls and stuff like that. For direct arm work, fat bar curls would be in there, and just high rep tricep push downs, just bomb the shit out of that. But I would make sure, and I'd probably also do very light, super high rep flies. Just to get it as armored up as possible. But I assume, Duncan, you're a raw lifter, I would keep the bench press strong, so to speak. So you're lifting heavy weights and stuff like that. But everything I would worry about building as bodybuilding and as bulletproof as possible. Upper back would be, face pulls and stuff like that, since you're always doing rows, band pull apart, stuff like that. So that's what I would do. I would bodybuild the hell out of everything pretty much. Except for maybe the bench and the supplemental work, and I'd keep that a little bit heavier. So I hope that helps, buddy. Oh, I wish I could go back and fix a lot of the dumb shit I did. Drives me nuts. All right, Heavyweight says, hey, Jim, this channel is church to me. Maybe I should do this on Sunday. Just kidding. I have no problems giving back your program, and this channel has been the best thing to ever happen. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm just trying to give back, just like Darren Llewellyn did for me when I was younger. The attitude that my dad and Darren kind of put on me, obviously Dave Tate and Louis Simmons and everyone else, has been amazing. All the articles I read when I was a kid, even if I didn't know what I was reading, probably helped me more than I ever think. So, all right, Brandon Fink says, I hit my goal for hanging leg raises and pull-ups, 100 reps for the week. I know it doesn't sound like much, but I started 5-1 only doing knee raises and assisted pull-ups. Dude, that's amazing. That's a lot of reps, buddy, especially since you're doing both hanging leg raises and pull-ups. That's a lot of work on the body. I hope your shoulders feel okay. For me, that stuff kind of helped my shoulders, but I can see how they can be bad too. So that's awesome. Congratulations, Brandon. And never downplay your accomplishments, all right? Listen, like, even if you bench press 500 pounds and someone says, well, so-and-so did 600. It's like, who gives a shit, dude? I hadn't done it before. It's important to me. So whatever you got, I think it's just don't downplay it. Your accomplishments are important and they're meaningful to you, and that's fine. Don't downplay them with other people. All right. Mark writes, at OSG Madison, Wisconsin, with Ed Cohn and Nick Best. I don't know what OSG is. Ohio State? No, it's in Madison. I don't know. But all right, enjoy Madison, Wisconsin. I'm sure it's massively warm there too. Boy, did the University of Wisconsin take a dump with their new offense, huh? Refuse to watch them anymore. All right, here we go. Have a good time, Mark. Papa Yama says, hey, Jim, I'm currently training with around 85% of my bench max, doing 5 sets of 1 and starting to get some elbow pain. What's the minimum percentage of your training max you can use and still get stronger? I don't know. A lot of it has to do with how you perform the lift. If you kind of half-ass the lift and just kind of do this, it's not going to do much for you, if I'm going to be honest. If I were you, Papa Yama, I would stop right now anything that gives you elbow pain and let it heal, because You're just going to be constantly getting yourself injured and pushing back and pushing back and pushing back. And pretty soon you're going to have to take a year off. So take 6 weeks off, get your elbows strong or healthy, I should say, and then go on and get back. So, and obviously figure out what's causing your elbow pain. And who knows, I don't know what it would be, but just, just be smart about that. Listen, a lot of older dudes who've been lifting for a while, one of the best things you could do is get yourself a safety squat bar. That elbow pain from squatting will ruin you. So you got to be smart about that. All right. Tom Bryant says, I recently posted in the Walrus Q&A about using the vest every day, every workout. Thought I'd ask you on here too, as it's easier for you to respond. All right. I'm not sure what your, it's easier for me to respond on the forum. I can write stuff out and think about it. I'm just flying off the cuff here. Listen, all right. So I think I remember this. Tom, listen, your goal is specifically to do X reps with the weight vest with an X time. If that is your specific goal, you should not wear the weight vest every day. That's what it comes down to. You can. Listen, I did it. All right. But my goal wasn't to complete X amount of reps in X amount of minutes. That was not my goal. So your training has to fit your specific goal. All right. That's why if your goal is to use weight vest stuff, I think you should wear 2 to 3 times a week if that is your goal. And then because your body just gets too worn down over a while. So that's the best thing I can tell you. Your training must fit your goal. All right. All right, here we go. What's a program that allows me to bench 2 times a week and overhead press 2 times a week? I don't know. I would not recommend that. That's not something I would really I would recommend or program. I guess you can lift 4 days a week and bench and squat on one day and deadlift and press on another day. I mean, God, I can't remember that guy that did that. Oh my God. He used to be the strength coach at Colorado. He was at Vanderbilt. It was a long time ago. So maybe that's something you could do. Again, it was bench and squat on one day, and then so it'd be Monday, Tuesday would be deadlift and press, and then we repeat that on Thursday and Friday. So you could try that out. How you would program that, I'm not really that sure, but you can give that a shot. Oh my God, I can't remember that guy's name. You could probably look up stuff that he wrote. He's an old school strength coach. He was at Vandy, Colorado, and then he was at UCLA. So Hardly Last says GPP equals CrossFit. Couldn't be farther from the truth on that one. What does your current routine look like? My current routine is generally 2 lifting days, 2 walking weight vest days, and 2 stairs and weight vest days. That's it. So it's been awesome. Very good. All right, here we go. Hey, Jim, don't shit on my 30-year-old dreams of making the NBA at 5'9". There you go. Dude, it's happened, but listen, you got to play the outside that one. All right. You don't see a lot of dudes playing professional soccer with like ankles this thick. All right. Your body will choose your sport at a high level. At 35 with a good strength base, would you continue building strength or start to look at longevity route as I'm getting older? My 1 rep max, 5'9", 250. Jesse, you're going to have to answer that question yourself, man. The issue that I have is, and I'll just be completely honest, Jesse, is it's not my decision to make. You need to make the decision. And at no point should someone else tell you your decision. The only issue I have is, I'm going to tell you this. When I was playing football, there's no way in a million years you could tell me to change what my goal was. The only goal that I cared about was playing football. All right. I don't care about any other stuff. I didn't care about powerlifting, Olympic lifting, anything like that. I just wanted to be the strongest ass kicker in the world at football. When I was powerlifting, at no time did I ever think about longevity or anything like that. The goal was the goal. All right. So the one issue I have, Jesse, is you're asking me and anyone else what your goal should be. And I don't know. I have no idea, but you should never, I don't like it when people waffle. You got to pick a direction and go. So that question, Jesse, can only be answered by you. And the worst thing you can do is toe the line, because that's how people get hurt. All right. Mark says, was Louis ever wrong? Sure. Louis, yeah, plenty. He'll admit it too. I've heard him admit it a lot of times. Louis was not ever above trying shit out and then it not working. That's fine. It just, a lot of times people only saw the stuff that worked, but it was wrong a lot of, it's just the way it goes. You're always going to break a lot of eggs, buddy. It's just, not everything's going to be perfect. Bill Coyne says, echoing Jim's point about books, having that knowledge is important, but I made the most progress when I was stuck to the same thing for years and made small adjustments based on my own experience. That's very good. Listen, the most knowledge I ever got was training people and coaching people by far. So if you have the ability, even if it's just working with one other person or having a training partner that you guys can bounce ideas off, you will be much, much better. Dunkid says, yes, that is my last name. All right. Mr. Schwartz says, would building a monolith work on a 2-day-a-week split? I don't know. I guess you could try different stuff with that. I don't know the program off the top of my head, but I generally don't think you need to be adjusting programs, specific kind of challenges. Just do it. If you can only lift 2 days a week, do something specific to a 2-day-a-week program. Don't try to fit a 3-day-a-week program into 2 days. Do other sports so only lift twice per week? You rock, Mr. Wendler. All right. Oh, you do other sports, so he only lifts twice a week. All right. No, I would not do that. I would, especially if you're playing other sports. You don't need to be doing all that insane volume stuff. Everything needs to be kind of filtered through the eyes of performing and doing the sport. So you have to be very smart about that. Mild Flounder says, what's my favorite ab wheel progression? I don't really have one. You just go for a rep amount. So maybe 25 total reps. I don't know where you're starting. Maybe it's 10 total reps. Do that, 2 to 3 days a week. And then after maybe 4 to 6 weeks, get up to 25 if you're doing 10, and then work yourself up so you're able to do 5 sets of 10, every 90 seconds or so, and I think you'll be fine. So we don't really use a progression. We just use total amount of reps and build it up slowly. So I don't really do – here's the thing, man. Like, you can try and program all that stuff, but your body's not always going to cooperate. So I think doing total amount of reps in a workout is important, and then just building up slowly from there. So, all right, here we go. What time is it? I got to get going here. All right, here we go. All right, someone said that Doug Hepburn did bench and overhead press twice a week. So the guy that was asking about doing bench and overhead press twice a week, there you go. He has a program you can look to. All right. Heavyweight says, in the Beyond book, you wrote a template where people can do 1 day a week of speed work for 8 sets at 60% to the guy who asked for a template that allows training to lift twice a week. All right, there you go. And the other day was for PR sets. Ryan Whitley, there you go, buddy. It was Doc Priest. He had a book, I just remember, had a red cover. And I don't remember what it was called, but that was one of the workouts that was in there. So Doc Priest is the guy that did the bench and squat on 1 day, and I think deadlift and press or power clean and press. I don't remember exactly. Maybe it was inclines, but it followed that Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So there you go. Diego says, good morning. I'm losing weight, 500 calorie deficit, lifting full body 3 times a week and walking every day for 10,000 steps. I wanted to add hill sprints just to do something fun, but I don't want to regress much on my lifts. How would I go on doing this and not screwing with my recovery? I would not do it. I would probably not do it if I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know how you're recovering right now. I guess if I was going to do it, like you said, maybe keep the hills under 10 minutes per session. Maybe that is, but I'd just be very wary, because when you start to lose body fat, you can't be burning the candle at both ends, as in calorie deficit and a energy expenditure. It gets very dicey, and then you end up getting too hungry. You're feeling run down and stuff like that. So Diego, if you're going to do anything, I would probably do the 10 minutes, but I would just be just understand that things might get a little scary with that. And I don't want you to see you getting off your goals because your squat goes down. All right. Now, do understand that if your body kind of responds negatively to it, let your body, if you're going to keep doing it, let your body adapt and don't freak out. All right. The first time I added in hill sprints, I've told this story a million times. The first time I started doing hill sprints after, not doing them for, 20 years, everything hit the shitter. Every lift, couldn't do anything. I was weaker and pissed. I took off 405 on the squat and my legs were, I could barely get that thing back in the rack. I was like, thought I was going to dump 405. It was my last kind of warm up, and I was like, holy cow. So just understand, if you continue to do it, Diego, be patient with your body and adaptation. So, all right, Tim Gutenkunst, Portal's 5x531 4 days a week program is the answer to the guy's question about benching and benching twice and pressing twice per week. There we go. All right. Thomas Hickman says, sorry, Jim, just to follow up to my original question on squat and deadlifts, taking a long-term approach, would it be a good idea to run boring but big leaders and FSL anchors to increase these with abs as assist? Maybe for the squat, but I would never, ever do that with the deadlift. Ever. Zero. Nope. I would see, maybe you can keep on doing that with the squat, but I definitely would not do that with the deadlifts. I would back off on the deadlifts a little bit during the boring but big, cap the reps. Again, I don't know exactly how that would be, but I would definitely not push that too much, if I'm going to be completely honest. But if I was going to push someone's squat, I would probably not do boring but big in FSL, if I'm going to be completely honest. We would just auto-regulate the PR sets and just train and make sure the reps are awesome. I would be coached the shit out of each and every rep, and I would drive up the assistance. So, but again, if you're going to do that, do it only with the squat. I would not do it with the deadlift. There's going to be consequences. Woo! Says, I know this is not training related, but I know you love college football. How about Bill Belichick went to North Carolina? Holy shit, is that true? I don't know. I haven't looked at a lot of that stuff. Here's the thing, man. When about halfway through this season, the football season, I kind of stopped watching a lot of football games other than little things here and there. But I mean, it's just so much. I was doing so much football all the time. And so I have not kept up even with college football. So he's getting interviewed for the job. Listen, if I'm going to be honest, I think it's a horrible idea. Horrible idea. College football and the NFL are two completely different sports. They have to be coached very differently, massively differently. And I think Big Bill Belichick's style of coaching is suited for the NFL. I do not think in any way it's suited to college football. I may be wrong, but we saw it with Nick Saban. Most of the college guys that go back and forth, Steve Spurrier, I think it's two very different things. So that's just my opinion. I think Bill Belichick is one of the greatest coaches of all time. I just don't know if it's right for college football. All right, Jonathan says, thank you for your time and contributions. I appreciate that. Does anyone have anything else? I already lifted today or did my training. I'm thinking about doing something else, but we will see what time my wife gets home and what we got planned. I did bench press today. I trained with a football bar. Just wanted to do it. Doing sets of 25 all the time. Got a huge pump. All right. Jesse says, maybe I missed it, but did you say why you don't train with weights anymore? Ironically, I did football bench today. Was it injury related? Injury related, and honestly, my heart, I just don't want to do it anymore. Like my obsession right now, and has been for a while, is getting healthy enough to do weight vest, hills, stairs, and stuff like that, and incline treadmills. I'm just obsessed with it. Obsessed with it. I don't care about my deadlift. I don't care about my bench press or anything like that. I just want to carry heavy weights up a hill forever. It's a little hard to squat and deadlift or do anything if you don't want to do it. I totally understand why people don't want to work out. I have always said if I had to garden every day for an hour to be fit, I would not be fit because I do not in any way want to garden. So I understand why people don't want to work out. So, all right. Who you got winning Texas and Georgia this weekend? I would probably pick Georgia. If Texas can't play like they did, whatever, last week, I saw part of that game. So anyway, Georgia. Kirby Smart's going to have something figured out. What position did you play at Arizona? I was a fullback. So, yes, that becomes. You're right, Bill. Listen, it's just my way of training my legs and my lungs to an insane degree. That's all I kind of care about. So, it's been a long road with a lot of different shit happening to my body, and so I still, like I said, I did the football bar today, and just did tons of reps. So anything I do, normal lifting wise or push-ups, chin-ups, is just to kind of get a pump. I don't really care too much. And just keeping my body weight in check, keeping my body fat down. So anyway, all right. Does anyone have anyone else? Because anything else, I should say. Does anybody have anything else? If not, you guys have a great weekend. As always, if it's cold outside, get outside and do something stupid. It's awesome for your brain. It's awesome to challenge yourself, get out of the comforts of heating. So thank you for everyone who asked questions or who watched. I appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Thank you.